Department. Over my shoulder, you will see a car that we impounded over the weekend. And Chief Schierbaum is going to give you the stats on all of the cars that we impounded and all of the people that were arrested this weekend. But I want to make sure I send a clear message that if you engage in street racing in the city of Atlanta, you will go to jail and your car will be impounded. And if you're out there watching and filming individuals that are engaging in street racing, we will also arrest you too. This is very serious. What you think may be harmless or something that doesn't impact others, it has a grave consequence if you spin out of control and hurt someone, or God forbid, kill someone, a child or someone in the street. And so what we want to make sure is that we keep everyone safe, and you're creating a nuisance with a lot of noise and challenges to the community. And so what we want to send a clear message today is that we are arresting individuals and impounding their cars. To the men and women of the Atlanta Police Department, I salute you and thank you for your hard work so far in bringing down the street racing that has occurred throughout our region. This weekend, Chief Schierbaum is going to talk about how some people went from Gwinnett to DeKalb and tried to come into Atlanta, and we arrested them. But again, we want to make sure that the citizens of Atlanta, the residents here, are safe, but we also want to send a clear message that just because you're having fun on social media showing off your car or showing off you doing street racing and making a lot of noise in our town, we're doing our job to make sure that we arrest you and bring you to justice and let a judge and jury decide your fate. So now I'll turn it over to Chief Schierbaum to give you the details of this weekend and what the men and women of the Atlanta Police Department are doing to keep us safe and to crack down on street racing. Chief?
Thank you, Mayor. Good morning, everyone. Appreciate you all being out here on this chilly morning for the good of public safety. As the mayor stated, we were alerted early Sunday morning by our law enforcement partners in the region that we had a group of street racers that were very active. They were active in other counties, Gwinnett, DeKalb. Not only were they taking over intersections, they were firing fireworks at police officers. They were being very aggressive at officers from other law enforcement agencies that were attempting to disrupt them. Once we became aware of that information, we alerted our plan, which we have in the city, which everyone is on deck. It doesn't matter the rank that you hold in the Atlanta Police Department. If we get an alert of street racers, everyone is to be deployed. And a short time later, we did start seeing, and you've seen it on video, street racers taking over multiple locations in the city. And I do want to commend the men and women of the Atlanta Police Department, because this was a group that was aggressive. This just wasn't street antics. This was very aggressive action toward police officers of many jurisdictions. And our officers at the end of the night had arrested 12 individuals. We arrested 5 individuals that were actively involved inside of vehicles. We arrested 5 individuals that were filming, and we arrested 2 parents who came to get their juveniles out of the custody of the Atlanta Police Department. And so we are going to use every single tool we have to ensure that if you pick Atlanta, Georgia, to be the location that you're going to street race and commit in a range of criminal acts, you are going to be held accountable. This vehicle behind us is there because of a Connect Atlanta network that allows us to view multiple cameras from various sources. This vehicle behind us is because citizens are working with this police department to share their video and to make phone calls to 911 and to give us tips of where street riders are at and where street racers are hiding their vehicles. I will say this, as we speak here on this cold morning, investigators of the Atlanta Police Department are in multiple areas following up on other vehicles that we intend on, if we have probable cause, securing arrest warrants and search warrants for that vehicles. We have many hours of video that we're still combing through. And we ask anyone, any of your viewers or your readers, if you have video, please share them with the Atlanta Police Department. Call Crime Stoppers. We're going to continue to work to hold other people accountable that were endangering citizens of this city over the weekend. And if you decide to come back to Atlanta, you're going to find a police department that is aggressive and equipped, and we're going to use every tool in our toolbox to hold you accountable. But street racing is a region problem, and street racing will end when the courtrooms across the region take action on the cases that are being placed in the courtroom by this police department and the other police departments in the state and by the Georgia State Patrol. All of us are working together, and we are going to end this problem for the region.
Thank you, Chief. Thank you. Are there any questions?
Yes. Chief, how many, or tell us the charges against the parents, first of all.
So you have a responsibility in the city of Atlanta to not allow any child to be out after the prescribed hour for a curfew. So it is responsibilities of a parent for allowing your child to be inside the city limits, outside without adult supervision after the prescribed time.
Chief, a couple of years ago, the racers and the watchers, blue lights come up, they wanted to flee. There's been a change here in aggressiveness. Over the weekend, you had a windshield broken, somebody threw a traffic cone, somebody threw eggs at a patrol car. Talk about this change in aggressiveness and what position that puts your officers in.
Well, it's very disturbing. And obviously this takes us beyond, this is not just mere antics in individuals having fun. Very young. I think you all saw the ages of those that we arrested that we put out. We are going to respond with the appropriate charges. So if you do an act that is an aggravated assault against a police officer of this jurisdiction or any other jurisdiction, you will be charged accordingly. If you damage taxpayer-supported vehicles, you're going to be charged accordingly. So these will not just be traffic violations and city ordinance violations related to street racing. If you choose to elevate this to endanger the men and women that protect our communities, we are going to charge you, and we're going to make sure that we place before a competent court and jurisdiction those charges.
Now, you talked about the court's role in this, but right now there's a perception that these individuals are arrested, slap on the hand, they're back out on the street, and they're doing this again. What can be done about that?
I think we're doing it this morning. I think we're putting on notice the other parts of the criminal justice system that follows the police department. And it's just not the Atlanta Police Department. It's the Georgia State Patrol, Gwinnett, DeKalb, South Fulton. We are making arrests. And we've seen the General Assembly and we've seen county commissions and the City Council of Atlanta put in place laws that address this. And so for those laws to actually impact the safety, they must be prosecuted and they must be acted on in a fair manner by a judge to say, I recognize this is danger. I recognize we are attacking police officers. So I'm confident that we are going to have a full support of the criminal justice system on this because it does matter. And I don't think we would be out here on a cold morning if it didn't matter. And so we're confident that the judges will do their job, and we already know this morning solicitors of Fulton County and solicitors of the City of Atlanta are working closely with our investigators to ensure they have good cases to put before judges.
Chief, let them know how many cars we impounded just this weekend, and tell them again.
Certainly. Well, we have one behind us, but we impounded 10 vehicles behind us this weekend. We impounded 10. Those are in various impound yards across the city. Some may have already been released, but here's what we know. We know those cars are insured, and we will ensure that the appropriate notifications are made, and we will ensure that when the court cases are heard, the judges and the solicitors have the information of the vehicles that we seized this weekend. And I'll tell you what, when you look at the chaos you see in those videos, for the men and women of this department to get 10 vehicles, I'm very proud of them because that wasn't easy. And for citizens to call and give us tips, I want to thank every citizen that gave us a tip. And I want you notice another tool that we deployed this weekend, which were stop sticks. And when the officer was trying to stop that street racer in Buckhead that had already endangered that community, and to stand there in that intersection and deploy his stop stick in a manner that was safe and in line with his training, that shows you the tools we will employ. And we'll continue to add tools to the toolkit. We are expanding our number of PIT-trained officers to ensure that we have the ability, when it's appropriate, to take out individuals and place them in custody as quickly as we can so more citizens aren't endangered.
Can you talk a little more about these tools and what's worked so far? Because you have the camera system, but we saw even that car that got stop stick, they cover up the license plate. They're trying to do things to avoid being detected, obviously.
Well, I don't want to give all of our tactics this morning because it's already been alluded to. Their tactics change, and so will that of law enforcement. But we do have an air unit that we will continue to deploy. We have a camera network that is growing weekly. We're now over 10,000 integrated cameras, thanks to the Mayor's Connect Atlanta initiative that he launched this year. And we're using every one of those. And we ask if you want to do your part to continue to impact street racing, add your cameras, integrate your cameras, register them. They were integral to our success of 10 vehicles impounded, 10 individuals under arrest, and that allows us to do our job quickly and more effectively and hand good cases to the courtroom.
What's your message to the spectators? Because obviously social media is driving this.
Two things. You're placing your life in danger. We only have to Google and look from coast to coast to see individuals being killed and seriously injured who are spectating. And then we've made it illegal in many jurisdictions, including Atlanta, to be in that position, to film, to promote, and to participate as a participant in certain areas is illegal. 5 individuals have been arrested and charged this weekend for doing just that. So we understand that is part of it, and that is part of our approach to address that as well.
Last one. Chief, under what circumstances is the city allowed to, the police department allowed to keep that car? I know it's got to go through the court, but can you give us an understanding of where you can, the confiscation laws can say, hey, you're going to use this car?
This vehicle behind us this morning is as evidence, so it's being held on a search warrant. The courts, in their appropriate time and actions, as prosecutors bring actions to seize, will act on that. So I don't want to get ahead of the courts or speak for them.
Mayor, can you just talk? I mean, the neighbors are really the ones who you probably hear from. You know, it's the noise, it's the blocking intersections. But I mean, you said this is really working. So what's your message to them that this is actually, these cases have actually gone down since the summer, right?
Yeah, the good news is this weekend was not similar to the weekends that we've seen over the summer and before. I mean, we really got on top of street racing around March, April, May, so that going into the summertime, they already knew on their networks, they were saying, don't go into Atlanta. Atlanta's hot. They're going to lock you up. And so they tried it again this October. And they were met with what the Atlanta Police Department does best is make sure that they bring folks to justice. So this weekend, when they tried street racing, they were met with impounds and arrests. And so the message to the men and women that live in the city of Atlanta is that your police department is doing their job, that the mayor hears your concerns, and that's why we made sure that we sent individuals down to get training on the pit maneuvers. To make sure that we had a number of officers that were trained enough to be able to slow down a car or stop a car, and that we have a number of tactics that we put in place and train our officers on to be able to bring folks to justice without harming them in that way. Now, what has happened is our police cars were damaged in the process. We have 2 patrol cars now that are damaged, and that comes at a great cost to the citizens and taxpayers of Atlanta. But we're going to do all we can to make sure the street racers know without a shadow of a doubt that you can do what you want to do where else, but do not come into the city of Atlanta and end up in jail or have your car impounded. We hope that you choose to use your car properly and not engage in street racing in the city or in any of our adjacent counties. But when you do, if you so choose, you will be met with a police department that has all the tools, has all the technology, and has all the will to bring you to justice.
Thank you, everybody. Don't forget to get the car's good side on the other.
So there you just heard from Mayor Andre Dickens, Interim Chief Schierbaum. Let's talk a little bit about what they said. Really, the message from Atlanta Police, the message from the city of Atlanta is that they are going to fully pursue those who engage in illegal street racing and arrest those. And you saw just there 10 people arrested, 2 of those people parents for their children's involvement. And you heard from Interim Police Chief Darin Schierbaum, who said the parents were arrested because the kids were out past curfew. They were engaging in this. This all stems from an incident that happened over the weekend. A large group allegedly made their way to Atlanta in the areas of Interstate 75, I-75, I-85 at 17th Street and Lenox Road at Peachtree Road. That's where this all took place. And if you have been on social media, you've seen some of those videos. Basically, the mayor saying that they are going to be impounding those vehicles and pursuing those individuals, and that they are not going to condone illegal street racing here in Atlanta. And part of that effort is to find those people that were involved in that activity and pursue them and then make an example of them, as the mayor stated. Of those 10 people that were arrested Saturday evening and early Sunday morning, police said that this all happened when they responded to those reports of the group performing donuts and allegedly performing burnouts at those major intersections that I just stated. So 17th Street, Lenox Road at Peachtree Road, in the vicinity of I-75 and I-85. So 10 vehicles total impounded, 10 people arrested, both with different involvement. We, of course, are going to continue this coverage and the ongoing conversation about illegal street racing here in Atlanta on our website, atlantanewsfirst.com.